remodel project, here's a little trick. It helps me to make sure I know where all the wires are going and I don't get them all mixed up. Let me show you what I do. This box right here, and actually this is some black tape, some electrical tape that was wrapped around it for some reason. I'm not exactly sure why. So the two wires that are coming into it, I write on it with a Sharpie, bedroom. So I know this wire right here is heading through to the middle bedroom and supplies power to the middle bedroom. So that means this wire right here is the wire that is coming up and going over to the electrical box, which is one room away. Okay, so I've got this wire is marked as bedroom. This wire is marked as electric box. That way I will not get them mixed. Okay, I hope that little tip helps you. Remember, when you're working with the electric, be careful. Shut the breaker off from the box every time. Don't play around with electric. It'll bite you. Okay, when you're doing a remodel project, sometimes you'll have 2x4 studs that just need to be moved. Maybe they just need to be put somewhere else. Maybe they need to be taken out. And a lot of times they're nailed in with what they call 16 penny nails at an angle driving up. Well, how do you do it? One way is to take a hammer and just start beating it. Just start beating it. And what happens is you end up blowing the top of this wood out. It splinters everywhere and eventually it'll come out. Now that's one way to do it. I always like to do what I call surgically remove stuff, especially in remodel. So yeah, I could take a hammer and just start beating this. Number one, I trash my stud that I've got right here. And number two, it's putting all the vibration and everything else in the house, upstairs, downstairs, and everywhere, trying to beat that out like that. Well, there's another way to do it with a tool like this right here. It's called a nail puller. Or I've often heard it called a cat's paw before. You can use a tool like this right here in order to get these out, and it makes taking the stud out so much easier. If you're going to do this, you ought to have ear protection on, and you ought to have eye protection, especially the eye protection, because you are going to hit steel to steel. That's where a little splinter can come out. That's where it can hit you in the eye and put your eye out. You only have two. Save them if you can. Okay, let me show you how this tool works. To take these out would be to take a Sawzall and run it through here and cut them out. That would be another way to do it. I always like using the cat paw. It just seems to work well. And this little cat paw right here, this little V, you're just going to put it up here underneath the nail, just like that. Slide it underneath there, and then you'll take at that point right there, and you'll take your hammer and you'll knock it on the bottom. And you just try to get a grip. Sometimes you got to do it in different angles. So now right there, the cat paw has the head of the nail. So at this point right here, I can pull it down and just go slow. You don't want to yank it real fast. It's surgery. You're performing surgery here. So it just pulls down like that right there. The two nails in this one is called a number 8 rather than a 16 penny. Once again, I'll take it and I'll put that V just where I can't push it any farther, and then I tap it. And the nail kind of goes up inside that V. I'll take it, pull it down, and then at this point I can grab it and I can go ahead and pull the nail out. There's that one on the floor. And this one comes out. There we go. So at this point here, you can just barely tap it and your 2x4 comes loose. Now, the number one mistake I always see the home shows, the reality home shows that you watch on TV, the number one mistake I see they do all the time is when they go to do tear out, they bring in the biggest sledgehammer and they just start slamming stuff. Now, I know it's entertainment. I know they got to kind of make it more exciting than kind of doing what I'm doing right here. But just remember, when you do remodel, especially remodel, just surgically remove stuff, and that way you're not tearing out anything more when you go to put it back together. A lot of times, if you're not careful, you'll tear something out. When you go to put it back together, you'll think, oh man, I tore that out, now I got to replace it. I should have just left it there. So just surgically remove stuff. It works good. Hey, I hope your remodel project goes okay. Okay, here's another remodel tip for you. When you're remodeling, remember, sometimes it's very difficult to reach perfection. When you're building something brand new, you can always make sure everything works out as you go through the plan. When you remodel, you're coming in on a project that was done quite a few years ago. Maybe everything wasn't done just right, and now you've come upon something that, oh boy, what am I going to do with this? Well, try to remember, just relax. There's always a way to build around something. Once you get it done, if you do it right, it looks good, and you just continue for there. Let me show you what I'm talking about right here. This is an air vent pipe to all the plumbing in this master bath right here. And it goes up the wall, goes out, and out through the eave. It is a 4-inch pipe, and the walls are 2x4s. So 3.5 and a 4-inch pipe, obviously it's not going to fit inside this wall cavity. So what has happened here in this case is I've got my 2x4 here, and then my pipe actually comes out and then continues down the wall like this right here. So this pipe is sticking out. So whenever it's time to drywall, it's going to be very difficult to try to take your drywall and try to wrap it around this pipe and put it over here. Well, here's a pretty simple solution. It only took a few minutes to do, and it's going to look pretty good, and it actually has a secondary function to it. Actually, I took 3 2x4s, and you can see I just nailed them together. I've got one on one side, one on the other, and this one here fit right in the middle. From this side, the side that'll be facing out, it almost looks like a beam. I plan to go ahead and drywall this here across and back, but who knows? Maybe when it comes down to that drywall stage, I may go ahead and decide this looks so nice, I may just stain it and make it look like a beam. It's not going to be absolutely perfection, but it looks pretty good. What will happen here is this beam, I'll set this beam in place. Now it does cut down on my trim right here on my window. But once again, when you're doing remodeling, everything isn't going to work out just perfect for you every time. It'll look pretty good. I'll either run my trim this wide all the way around, or I'll just come in here, dive my larger trim, dives into this beam, comes down a little bit smaller, and takes off again. Nobody will ever notice that unless you are a professional carpenter and you're real picky. You won't ever come in this bathroom and take a look at that and go, man, wonder why that beam's in there. It's just something people don't think about. Even if you go to sell your house, people don't think about things like that. Now, what's also very important as you remodel is the perfect time to make sure all your insulation and everything is done correctly. Before I put this beam up, I've got this pipe right here. Now, I've got insulation going all the way back to the wall here, but I've got a pretty nice little void right here. So I'm going to go ahead and fill that void up. And then also what I'll do is inside this beam, I'll go ahead and put a little bit of insulation here too. And that way the cold air that's coming through this pipe will hit this insulation right here. I'll have insulation on both sides, and it's definitely going to stop that cold air, especially this is facing north. That cold air that comes from the north coming in, blasting against your north wall on your house, and then coming on through. When you remodel, this is the perfect chance to check your insulation out too, and make sure you got all your T's crossed and your I's dotted. Make sure everything is as good as you can get it before you go to the final stage, which is drywall. Okay, I hope that helps out. That's just another remodel tip. Hey, I do appreciate you coming to the channel. That's LAF Space Film Fest, capital LAF Space Film Fest. Hey, if you would, hammer down that subscribe button. Hold on a minute. Hammer down that subscribe button. I appreciate it. Helps me to put out little videos like this, little mini videos, just in case you're thinking about doing some remodel. Hey, save these, pass it on to your friends and family. Maybe they're doing a little remodel project.